Hey horror fans, once again it is me, the Horror Mani G. It's kind of late, but I finally saw Spiral from the Book of Saw, and here's my review of it. Now, Spiral from the Book of Saw is a 2021 American horror film and is the ninth film in the Saw franchise. It is directed by Darren Lynn Bousman. It was written by Josh Stolberg and Peter Goldfinger. Now, the film stars Chris Rock, Max Mikkelsen, Marcella Nicholas, and Samuel L. Jackson. Now, in this one, a criminal mastermind unleashes a twisted form of justice in Spiral, a terrifying new chapter from the Book of Saw. Now, when you think of horror franchises, most horror fans will talk about the big three: Friday the 13th, Halloween, and A Nightmare on Elm Street. They are considered the most popular horror franchises, featuring the most popular horror characters. Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Michael Myers. Those are what I consider the big three. Some people might add Leatherface. Some people might add Chucky. Some other people might add some other horror franchises, like, say, the Ghostface from Scream. But it's mainly come down to just Freddy, Jason, and Michael when it comes to horror franchises and horror icons. Now, we do have other horror franchises, such as Child's Play or Hellraiser, but there is one horror franchise that does deserve some praise, and that is the Saw franchise. Now, created by Australian filmmakers James Wan and Lee Whannell back in 2004, Saw has become one of the highest-grossing horror franchises of all time, grossing over $1 billion worldwide as of 2021. Yes, these films make a lot of money. They might not be the greatest one, and it's been criticized by critics. Some people actually called it torture porn, but both James Whannell and James Wan have considered that this is not torture porn. So, it shouldn't be no surprise that a new Saw film be greenlit, despite the negative reviews of the last Saw film, Jigsaw. Now, I didn't like Jigsaw as well. I felt as though it was one of the weaker versions of Jigsaw, but that film still grossed over $103 million worldwide, only on a $10 million budget. So it didn't surprise me that Lionsgate, which I believe owns the rights and it produces the Saw films, would greenlit another one. Now, what's interesting for this one is that comedian Chris Rock, who is a huge fan of the series, decided to become the latest comedian to go into the horror genre. We got Jordan Peele. Of course, we got John Krasinski. They both come from a comedy background. Jordan Peele has his success with Us and Get Out. John Krasinski's had his success with A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place 2. So Chris Rock is now throwing his hat in this horror genre, and now he stars in this latest entry in the Saw franchise. So, along with series creators Wan and Whannell, the film studios and distributor Lionsgate brings us the latest entry, Spiral from the Book of Saw. So, after seeing a gruesome and bloody trap at the beginning of the film, we're introduced to Detective Ezekiel Zeke Banks, who is the son of the legendary police chief Marcus Banks, played by Samuel L. Jackson. Believe it, Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson playing a father and son team. You know you're going to be in some good times in this one. Now, he and his rookie partner, Detective William Schreck, are called onto the scene of the bloody remains of the trap that we saw at the beginning of the film. Now, as the film progresses, we see that a new Jigsaw copycat is targeting a new set of victims, while also playing a deadly cat and mouse game with Detective Banks, in which secrets would be revealed that could cost people their lives. Yes, this is basically what this film is about. We see the Jigsaw traps. We see not Billy the doll that we've seen in the other Saw films. We have this new guy in the pig's face mask. Talks in kind of a woman's voice too. But he basically does say some of the Jigsaw lines though. The one thing I did like about this film is the change on how this particular Jigsaw picks his victims. It is the same MO that John Kramer or his disciples used in the previous films. No, this Jigsaw is using a different MO, as we see that these victims aren't throwing their lives away, whether it's they're drug addicts or they committed fraud or some other type of immorals that Kramer has found them to be unworthy of the life that they're living, and he has to put them to a test to see if they're willing to sacrifice anything in order to stay alive. This film is a bit different, so I did like that aspect of the film. Unlike other films in this series, I was intrigued on the mystery aspect that film writers John Stolberg and Peter Goldberg have written here. Now, we do have some element mysteries in the film and some of the other films, like I can say in Saw 2. And then some of the Saw films, we got some bit surprises in here. As I believe it's Saw 6. If I'm not mistaken, there was a bit surprise in that one as far as who it was. But this one's more of a mystery in this one, mainly because the whole motivations of this Jigsaw character is different. And the traps and the victims here are different. I think that's one of the reasons why I like what the writers tried to do here. I mean, anyone could be Jigsaw in this film, even Zeke himself, because everyone has a grudge against the victims. Not only are the victims terrible as far as what they are, but the people who want grudge them, they're not good people neither. So anyone can actually be Jigsaw in this particular film too, and they do play some. You do see some little. If you listen carefully, you can see some plots come out. Why this person could be Jigsaw, why this person could be Jigsaw, why that person could be Jigsaw. So I kind of like the fact what the writers did, making anyone could be Jigsaw in this particular film. Now, of course, everyone is wondering, can Chris Rock do something other than make people laugh? And he's pretty good as Zeke. He's a cop who's frustrated and living with the shadow of his father. He displays that. Well, I like the chemistry him and Samuel L. Jackson has, because you can tell that despite the fact that they love each other, Zeke wants to be able to prove that he can do it on his own without his father's backing. And his father simply just wanted to protect him because he wants his son to succeed as well. But he doesn't want his father's help, and that's the reason why they have such a dramatic or frustration in between these two characters. And I like both Samuel L. Jackson and Chris Rock in this film. Yeah, Chris Rock obviously has some funny lines in this film. There's a New Jack City line that he drops in the film. Of course, if people who don't know it, he actually starred in New Jack City. So there's a New Jack line he drops in this film. And he does have some funny parts of this film. But I thought he did a pretty good job. I think he has a chance to do something outside of comedy. He's also pissed off at his fellow officers as we learn more about his backstory. And we come to find out he simply doesn't trust them. And Rock is very good at displaying that anger. If you see in some of his comedy routine, I think that's where he draws it from, but the way he draws it in this one, you can tell that he is not a happy camper with any of the cops, and he trusts no one, and I don't blame him either. Once you see that backstory and what happened to him, you can understand why he doesn't trust any of his fellow officers. My main problem with the film is the reveal about who Jigsaw is, because it was rather lackluster, and despite the mystery aspect that I did enjoy, I actually saw it coming a mile away. I'm pretty sure most people will see it too. It's one of the problems I have with this particular. The reasoning is rather cliche, and it's something that we've seen before in the series. And it's kind of like, that's it? You're going to go with that? You couldn't come up with anything better? Not that I didn't have a problem with it, but I expected something a little better. Now, at least the traps were inventive, and they're very bloody and gory, which is a staple of the Saw franchise. Obviously, some great practical effects were used in this film. It definitely deserves its R rating, not because of the language, but mainly the traps. They're bloody, they're gory, they're yicky. Ew, man, some scenes are very disgusting. I won't say what the traps are or who gets in them. I'm pretty sure you've seen them on the trailers, but yeah. Traps are very inventive, very bloody and gory, and that's one of the great things I like about the Saw series are the traps. And these traps are pretty good. So despite the weak review and the cliche motive, this was a vast improvement over Jigsaw, the movie Jigsaw, not Jigsaw himself. And I like the fact that they can actually do something without having Tobin Bell in the film, because he doesn't talk. There's no flashback that we have. That's one of the things I liked about the film. It's like if you're going to advance the Saw series, you want to be able to do it not having Tobin Bell in the film and not any of his disciples. Try to do something that's completely different that we haven't seen before in the Saw series, and they do succeed on that, again, despite the weak reveal and the lackluster motives. Of course, Samuel L. Jackson in this particular film, he does a good job. I mean, what do you expect out of Samuel L. Jackson? All the other actors are okay in their roles. There's nothing really mind-boggling, nothing really fascinating, nothing's going to knock your socks off on this particular film. It's just a decent film. Overall, this is a nice entry in the series, and depending on the box office, I get the feeling that we'll be seeing Saw 10, because you know what they say, if it's Halloween, it must be Saw. Sorry, I had to say it. So I'm going to give Spiral from the Book of Saw 3 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Giving it 3 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Yeah, it's a pretty good. I was very impressed by it. You know, Chris Rock does a good job. Samuel L. Jackson. Traps are good. They were bloody. They were inventive. Like I said, very vast improvement over Jigsaw. You know, it's just that reveal. If the reveal would have been better, this would have been a great horror film. But it's pretty good. I'm pretty sure you guys who have seen it will enjoy it. You know, I'm pretty sure that we're going to get Saw 10. So there you have it. That is my review and video of Spiral from the Book of Saw. Have you seen it? Right now, it is playing in theaters. I believe it's already made available on digital on demand. If you haven't seen it, check it out. If you did see the film, please let me know in the comment section below. And if you did like this video, please like and share because it does help out with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscriber button and ring that notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime when I put a new video such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember that horror rules. I'll see you in my next video. I'm out.